work session for the Tip City Board of Education to order at 5:04 p.m. We're going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh.
My apologies.
No.
Okay. All right. Mr. Stevens, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Mrs. McMurray.
Here.
Mrs. Dillard is absent this evening. Mr. Thompson.
Here.
Mrs. Ernst.
Here.
Mrs. Plyman.
Here.
We do have a quorum this evening, and we can continue the meeting.
Excellent, thank you. I do want to mention, very sorry for Cindy's loss this week. So thoughts and prayers out to her and her family. Next, I would like a motion to approve the agenda for tonight's work session.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Ernst. Any discussion on the work session agenda? All right, hearing none. Stevens?
Thompson.
Yes.
Ernst.
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Plyman.
Yes.
Excellent. Our first discussion item this evening is regarding the 2026-2027 Program of Studies. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moran and our administrators that are here. And you can see there is a public doc attachment that is there, an overview, including the programs of study.
So with us tonight, we have Director of Teaching and Learning, Don Scott, High School Principal, Catherine Weaver, and Middle School Principal, Austin Halsey. And they'll kind of give you an overview of how things go together and the minor changes to the proposals. So, Dawn, you ready?
Yep, I'll start us off. Just before we get started, we had a couple of questions just about the process regarding course selection, how we develop new course proposals, and then also our decision around removal of programs or when we choose to change or modify courses. So we do have a process for those things, and Mr. Halsey and Mrs. Weaver will share more about that process at their respective buildings. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Halsey first.
Yeah, the middle school's always trying to keep improving and setting up kids for success in the long run, not just in our 3 grades, but also so that they're starting high school with, the content that's going to make them successful. When courses come about, it's usually between opportunity or need. That's kind of the things that foster that. A few years ago, we sent out a survey about what parents would like their kids to learn. Foreign language was one of the top ones at that point, and that's one of the newest programs that we've been offering over the last few years. So that was kind of a want. Our community wanted foreign language, so we offered it, and sometimes they come up that way. Other times it's out of a need. In the same vein with foreign language, we realized very early on that our kids didn't have any exposure to it before they stepped into a high school credit class. So one of the things that you'll see on ours is a world language kind of survey class, and that's just to help them set themselves up for success when they actually do hit that foreign language class. And that's how all of our courses go. It's either a need, something that our community wants and we want to utilize better to set our kids up for success, or it's a want. It's something that our community has asked for, and we want to honor that by listening to the surveys and feedback that we have and moving forward in that manner.
Questions for Mr. Halsey before we move on to Mrs. Weaver? Did you survey the students?
Actually, I believe you took it. It was a few years ago. We sent it out to all the parents,
Yeah.
And they did that.
Okay.
And then, of course, students kind of vote with their feet, right? If you take up for a class and it's a popular class and everybody wants to take it, then clearly it's something that they hold as valuable, or their parents have told them to hold valuable. So the students get their feedback that way. And so we also obviously listen to our staff. What's some concerns that we hear from them? For example, like in our STEM program, some of the classes kind of seemed that they overlapped, and that's going to be something that we're looking into. How do we clearly distinguish these so kids get structured and different types of science. So improving in that way.
So do I understand that it'll be 7th graders and 8th graders that would be taking high school credit foreign language in the future, or is it just the addition of the world literatures class?
It's going to be a longer process than that. 6th grade is kind of like all the world languages and kind of getting a feel for culture. And then we won't have it next year because we wouldn't need it because no 6th graders has taken it. But we would like to explore the idea of a 7th and 8th grade, or a 7th grade foreign language class that is not for high school credit, to kind of step our way through that until they do get to the high school level. Because it is definitely a very difficult jump to head into that, having no exposure to foreign language at all. And now our kids have handled it wonderfully. Parents have been supportive. The class has been a success, but that doesn't mean that we can't work to improve it continually.
I wondered the gap at
Yep.
7th grade, so
Yep.
thank you.
And that would be rolled out, so that's right, it's in phases. So next year would just be the global language survey for all 6th graders as part of our quarter rotation. So many of you are familiar with that. Our 6th graders take required courses each quarter. That would be part of that rotation. And then it would be 27, 28 that then we would roll in the next phase offered to 7th graders before they would take a high school credit course.
I love the foreign language, the overview of it. I think it's fantastic. And I just have to ask, because we're looking at the budget, is this gonna, because every kiddo would take it, is this gonna be a full-time hire that we would be looking at potentially? Not sure.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead.
For next year, there would be no impact or little impact to staff, based on our current staffing. It would be
Okay.
an additional, talking in sections, it would be an additional 2 sections. So we do believe with our current
Okay.
staff that we would be able to absorb that
Absorb
with
it.
6th grade. And that's why there was a caveat in there for the board. The next year, 27, 28, we would need to look at potentially additional staffing. So
Okay.
next year, it would be with current staffing, we feel that we would be able to still have the additional sections with the current world language staff. The next year, if the program continues to be a success, right now we have 150 middle schoolers taking world language as 8th graders, which is tremendous. Then we would need to look, to answer your question, Mrs. McMurray, at the budget and what we could allow and what we would need for staffing.
And just the impact on staffing, because if they're
Yeah.
not taking this elective, if they're taking this elective, it means they're not taking other
No.
electives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the impact on that that we have to determine?
That was my other
And
question.
that's all determined after they go through the program of studies and select courses. That's how we determine our staffing.
Section.
Yeah, okay. That was my, I have here, sorry. And because it's not, sorry, I have a lot of questions. Because it's not a tested subject, is it, that's why it's able to have any educator at 6 through 12 or teach those extra classes?
That
or-
would be, no, it would be a world language. It would be a teacher who has the
Has
world
that.
language certification.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
Would be doing the global language
Gotcha.
survey course.
Awesome. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just going through my questions. How would it impact, because I know I have a freshman who took the 8th grade foreign language, and he got high school credit for that, and now this is basically like another high school credit as a freshman. If they start in 7th grade and that's not credit dependent at the high school, that could get, what does that look like vertical alignment up at the high school level then? Sorry.
Well, the progression would not change.
Okay.
Even for a student, the students taking foreign language for high school credit would still be in grade 8, right? So grade
Okay.
8. So our current progression really doesn't change. Now what we're looking at, and Mrs. Weaver can speak to this as well, is vertically, we are working with our world language department of what the upper level foreign language
Okay.
will need to look like now that students are taking world language in grade
Yeah.
8. So that impact vertically, Mrs. McMurray, we're still examining
Okay.
what we need to be doing for our students junior, senior year. But as far as in the middle school, it really doesn't change that
Okay.
progression. We're just offering more scaffolded support and culture, vocabulary, and exposure that we've seen even with the success that students will need in world language.
Absolutely. I have one last thing. I know this is gonna sound crazy coming from me. Looking at the course of study for the junior high, I do think there are too many STEM electives. I do think that they can be combined. I'm all for it, but I think that a lot of the blurbs are very similar, and I think that they could progress on each other, but I think there definitely can be some combining of those STEM electives that are currently listed in there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. That's something we've been looking at and trying to work
Yeah.
on, in addition to kind of setting those distinct fields. Like,
Yeah.
we know that the high school has some cybersecurity types, like the tech field, and we want to offer something that's going to then work into that. So, we agree, and it's something that we've been looking at and working with our STEM teacher as well as our careers teacher as well as our science department to try to improve that.
Good.
We are hoping to have, I mean, I know, the science curriculum process that we're working in, kind of the 2-year process, we're hoping to come back, and it'll be a year from now, and when we're here again, with some of those updated changes. It does take a considerable amount of meetings and work and collaboration with both the middle school staff and the high school staff, as I know many of you know, to make sure it's vertically aligned. But that is definitely something we hope to present to the school board next year.
I have a question. So, and then the life skills class that's getting dropped, is that not a requirement from the state?
It's not. Life skills is not a requirement, but those skills are still vitally important, and we believe that. So those will be absorbed in our homeroom. So if you know, our
Okay.
grade 6 now has a homeroom advisory period, and
Okay.
many of those life skills aspects will be taught with our general education teachers in that advisory period. So
Okay.
it's not being removed, it's just being taught in a different way,
Okay.
and in a different course, so to speak.
One of the other things we surveyed parents on last year was, what do you think is causing, such a drop, or what struggle with 6th grade? And they said it was stress, and so that's when we implemented the pod system for the 6th grade. But we've also found with that first period of the day, we actually can get a lot of resources pushed into those rooms, like our SROs and our SPSWs and our counselors, and they can come in and they can talk about a lot of those life skills, stress management, time, and study skills, all of those things that we were putting in a class, we now can do in advisory. And so if we're covering those in other ways, it provided an opportunity for another class.
Mrs. Weaver?
So high school scheduling has a lot of nuances to it. So I don't know if many people I know, obviously Ms. McMurray has, but if you haven't been part of high school scheduling, there's a lot of pieces and a lot of entities. So any time that we look at adding a course is a very different process than maybe having a course that we might not offer. So the student interest drives everything for us. What they're willing to sign up for, what they're willing to stay at school for, what, either college path, not college path, all those things kind of dictate that. So you'll see that we are trying to lessen the number of courses that we offer for business. It doesn't mean that we don't have courses that still exist. It means that those aren't what we're going to offer. We offered quite a few the last couple of years, and the students, when they went and registered for them, each spring I meet with Mr. Moran and Mrs. Scott to go over our requested courses. And when we do that, and I have so many within a department, and you have 5 sign up for this one, and 7 sign up for this one, and 20 sign up for this one, the ones where the 20 sign up is where you're going to offer the course in order to be able to get the students into them. We then have to go and figure out where we put the 5 and we put the 7, and the counselors start meeting with all the students after they've put their requests in, even though they've met with them before, to then determine, okay, where are you willing to go? So the courses that we have listed for this program of study are the ones that were the most popular courses that we were able to manage, while still one of them that is in there, there's a 4th class that's in there that is still a requirement for some of the students. And so based on those numbers, that's what we felt that the students were willing to sign up for, that we were able to manage and not have those one-off courses that students thought that they would potentially be able to take, and you have to come back and say, sorry. And when you have a bunch of those courses that you're coming back and saying, I'm sorry, it puts the schedule in a bind, it puts students in a bind when we're trying to dictate. I've been in several different districts, and in every district, I agree, that the adults always say, I want my kid to take accounting classes. I want them to take accounting classes, and the kids never sign up for accounting. It's a wonderful course, and they're wonderful skills, but the students do not want to take that class, and I don't know why. I
Not
think it would
until
be a
they're
great
19
skill.
and
you know.
not living at home.
Well, right, yeah, once they graduate, they were probably like, man, I should take that accounting class.
Yeah.
So that was one of those where you only get a couple students to sign up for them. So we're trying to hit home on the other ones. You know, we have a business teacher who's in there right now who's very invested in business and what's happening in our business world, came from that sector, but also still kind of works in that sector when he's not here, and has made a lot of connections in the entrepreneurship piece. We've seen students doing projects over the last year and a half that are quite incredible. They're very interested, so we went in that direction with those courses. So the reason why we're trying to dial in a little bit more so that we protect their requests a little bit to make sure they're getting into the courses that they would like to take. When something comes off of the program of study, there is a lot of discussion besides just the request of what's the intent. So one of those courses right now is Hope Squad. We don't want for Hope Squad to go away, but right now we currently only have a process for Hope Squad, and this is what's on their website. It's like a national, organization. So in order for students to get into Hope Squad, they have to be nominated in the 8th grade by their peers. So what we have been having at the high school is students only get to take this course if they were nominated in the 8th grade. So if I have students who move in, they don't have the opportunity to take that class. And that's something that we kind of struggled with as on the adult side, and even talking with the students of, well, we want for students to want to be a part of things, and we want for them to be a part of organizations that are part of this. The other thing is, the state changed the law a couple years ago about electives, which goes back to the question that we asked about the foreign language. It used to be anybody could kind of teach general electives. That's not the case anymore. For you to teach an elective, it has to be under your licensure area. So right now we have that course in an English class, and so it has to have English type standards that at least go with it. So they do a book study, they do some other things. They're obviously always presenting, so there definitely are some English skills that go along with that. When you have different teachers who are trained in order to do that, sometimes it has to flip-flop between them depending on the number of sections you need to have. If we go up in sections for English, that course would have to flip-flop over back to either social studies or a health teacher. Well, then all of a sudden you're changing the standards and the credit that's assigned to that class. So that creates kind of a bit of an issue for some of the students. Let's say we had the PE teacher teach it. Let's say he's trained in Hope Squad. Well, we're now limited in the number of PE credits that we can give. That just came out from the state this year, and it actually causes errors with us for EMIS. So after a lot of discussion, we knew that we needed to move it. I prefaced the students last year where if we keep having to bump between staff members, or if I don't have any staff members that are trained to do this, I don't know that a course is worth it. One of the concerns that they had was we don't have time after school. I'm sure that that is very possible. Our students are incredibly busy in extracurriculars. We right now are looking at, with furniture purchase for the lunchroom, looking at going to 2 lunches and having space in the middle between lunch periods where we might be able to have advisory / time where there's some club meeting time. If we're able to do that, I'd really love to offer that, because if students aren't able to get to something after school, maybe they'd be more interested in doing some of the clubs that they would be able to get to during the day. Even if it's once a month, even if it's every other week, we could have, times. But that was an important piece that we wanted to listen to what they had to say about the importance of it. But I will go back to them and say, should it really only be 19 students who get to do this? If somebody moves in and they're a senior and they're passionate about this and they want to be included, can we find a different way for them to be able to be included? Because I'm not sure 4 years ago makes sense that that's the only way that you're possibly able to participate that. That's a hard reason to give and not give a credit to somebody. So kind of coming in with a different lens, and we're running out of teachers who are trained in order to do Hope Squad. So we have to navigate how to redo that and how do we fit within the community. So I think those are 2 of our major changes. Am I missing anything, Mr. Scott, Mrs. Scott? Okay.
Questions for Mrs. Weaver?
So am I right that Hope Squad is coming off entirely as a class and will transition to being a club as it is in the program of study
Yes.
as proposed? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. There are currently 19 students who are able to take the course.
I love the thought. I've been in 2 districts who had the lunch, or it was clubs, and then it was lunch and advisory and whatnot. They saw an increase in their club participation because it wasn't always before or after school.
Yeah.
And so they were able to have that dedicated time with an advisor, and they were all there. They could still do sports, jobs, whatever they needed to do at home. So I applaud you for thinking outside the box on that.
That was Mr. Moran's help. I'm going to give him the credit for like, hey,
Yeah.
could you do 2 lunches? So,
They
that
were
wasn't
2
just
Dark
me.
County schools, though. The
The
culture
other
there.
thing for that would be also like intervention time.
Yes.
For sure,
Yes.
because that's the other piece, is our intervention specialists at the high school. It is very common that they aren't able to see all their caseload during a
Right.
day, just the way that the schedules navigate. And if we have this common unified time,
Yeah.
they would be able to have time to be able to see them. So we're working through that. We have a faculty advisory council in each building, and so we're working through how to work that, even if it's 15 to 20 minutes, right?
Well,
How
and
can we make
that's
it work?
what the last district I was at, it was Tuesday and Thursday were club days. Monday, Wednesday, Friday was, advisory
Right.
intervention. So
Right.
it's just thinking outside the box, and I applaud you for the course studies, recognizing that, this, so,
I have a question.
yeah,
Does splitting the lunch extend the lunch time for the cafeteria workers?
no.
Fantastic, thank you.
We're working around all the parameters.
What additional questions do you have for Mrs. Weaver, Mr. Halsey, or Mrs. Scott?
I've got one. You mentioned accounting being a difficult one to get students into, which I totally understand. I cared nothing about it until I turned 21, 22, and I was in college, and my parents were like, "You're on your own." So I had to learn it fast. I wonder, similar to the approach, I guess, that was in the middle school, where life skills isn't going away, but some of that's being absorbed into like a general ed. Is there other ways to address that? Because obviously, we all know the importance of knowing how to manage a budget, and
Yeah.
especially if you're going into business or whatever.
Sure.
Is there other ways creatively to work that into other
There are. So the
classes?
state requires every school district to provide personal finance as a standalone class, and we do have that for students. Now, one of the things that we did in the program of studies, so thinking ahead, we have a personal finance teacher who is retiring after next year, after having been a longtime employee in our district. And so math and social studies teachers, by the code of their license, can also teach personal finance. So we did add that just in case to a social studies like to the department, just in case when she retires, because that license that she has is very difficult to come by. It's much easier for us to come by a social studies teacher. There's just more who graduate. You have 2 of them sitting right here. That's the thing for us. So we wanted to be prepared that if we weren't able to find that license, that we could put it in another department, because that is a required course. That's a nice one too. I was in there one day, and they were going over credit scores. And so they were talking about when you get a credit card, what's your credit score? When you go and you apply to get a car, what types of credit are they, working through and looking at? So it's very like what you would want for your kid to have.
What I needed at the
What I needed.
Sure.
It
For
is.
sure.
So that does exist in there, and
Yeah.
it is still a state requirement. We do still have quite a bit of that
Excellent.
going on.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons the accounting is less popular is because in our mind, that's the accounting that we want for them to have. When the kids go in and take the course, it is a much more elevated version of what
Yeah,
accounting is,
sure.
and I think that unexpected nature is not something they're as interested in
Yeah.
until they have to do them in their business major.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Mrs. Weaver, is like the MMR, the science.
Oh, yeah, so that's pretty big. So we have 2 math courses that serve as our either 3rd or 4th credit that they need to have for math class, and those are all of our real world. So AQR, which is the old MMR, and then we also have a math apps course. So Mr. Stevens was in one day teaching them. Were you doing deductibles with
We were
them?
talking about insurance.
Insurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were going over all kinds of different insurance terms and things.
Right, yes, and so there are some really neat classes that are much more tangible, that they could walk out of there. I mean, I walked out of there because I don't do a lot of the insurance myself, my husband does that, and I walked out of there going, I actually could now explain that better because I sat with him and did some of the assignments. So I felt pretty good about it. I wish more students would take a couple of those. You know, but it's a really great real-world course that they offer.
Some of those kids were really interested, and they were paying attention, and then others were. Yeah, but
It hasn't hit them yet.
it hasn't
They
hit 'em
need
yet.
to know it,
That's
so.
probably, it
Yeah.
hasn't hit him yet. I think there was one gentleman that was really interested to know about car insurance.
Right.
Must have
His
already had the
parents
talk
told
with
him
his
that he had to pay for it.
Yeah.
Coming up in about 2 years.
Yeah, when-
Was that mine? I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Well, in those courses, they turn 18, so all of a sudden, there's a
Yeah.
lot of responsibilities
Uh-huh.
on them from,
Yeah.
home too. So I think that they're great, but I wish more students would take those. Like, they're just so, they walk away with a true skill when they walk out of their life skill. So they exist.
Good. Thank you.
In a similar vein, I really like the data science class that you're adding. And particularly like using Python and R and
Yep.
getting kids into probability, which is gonna be is the basis for AI. Like, I think that's a great class to
Yes,
add.
thank you. Yeah, we're excited. These things exist. Like, there's courses that exist through the State Department that we just have to be able to, adopt and navigate. And the kids just do really well in things that, like, relate to them so easily, So we're excited.
On some of those electives that I did notice, and Katie and I probably are thinking in the same thing, and I think it's fantastic that Dave came in, is it an opportunity to reach out to community and
You wanna talk about
workforce?
today?
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we able, I'll let Katie share more. We are
I did,
working.
I'm sorry.
We're excited.
It's
I mean,
exciting.
Because I love the curriculum piece,
Yeah,
and I
there's a
love the
lot-
fact that we're in,
Yeah.
these workforce skills, so.
Yeah, we're in planning stages. I mean, the
Okay.
data science, Katie and I have wanted to do, we're finally able, with staffing and on just all the pieces Katie talked about, to put that in. And the state has been hugely supportive of these Algebra 2 equivalent courses. So we brought in MMR a couple of years ago, you guys were here, now called Advanced Quantitative Reasoning. Now we have data science, which is really just another one that we know our students will be so excited to take. And we have the training occurring, and the state, like I said, has been very supportive of that curriculum. In addition, I think the board would be happy to hear about some of our planning recently regarding career exploration, awareness, and our vertical alignment that we're working towards at the 612. We were together today for 2 hours, working on that plan with external partners, Mr. Moran, of what that 612 career exploration, discovery, internship, job shadow, pre-apprenticeship, et cetera. What is that gonna look like at every grade level with our coursework, with our external things that we would have the students do, with partners coming in, like Lunch and Learns we talked about today at the middle school. So we're really working through all the pieces. We are still in planning stage. I'm gonna turn it over to Katie, who facilitated so well today. And we're, it's every grade level. It does take time. We're not ready to present all those things to the board for formal adoption at this point, but we are working through all of the pieces. Katie keeps talking about, I know you guys have been around a long time, kind of the portrait of the graduate, like what that looks like at the end, all the pieces, the community service, the internship, the job shadow, the resume, all the the coursework, what we want our students to have when they leave and be proud and present it, and have it as a product, something that they're really proud of, all of the skills they have at the end. But we're starting in middle school. I think 9-10, we talked a little bit about today.
Sure, and
But
so.
Please share more.
Yeah, just as a final piece, one of the things that came up as we were looking at grade levels was if we have an AP environmental science or an environmental science course, what type of expert is in working with the staff member, not just on coming in and speaking about what you do, right? But the actual lesson, hey, here's my idea, what knowledge or content can you bring to it? How can you be a part of us to do this? And we do have some content specialists coming in at our next PD. So we do have science and a couple other subject-specific people coming in because we want for them to take not just an anatomy vocabulary thing, but we want for them to take that and create it into an actual discovery concept of how do I do this in a real-world lab and how do I solve this problem? And so we believe that being able to bring some of the people who know their fields in to be able to help plan all those pieces would be hugely helpful. And so that's what we're looking at, some of our career services and outside partners to be able to help us find that and then work with the staff to create the pieces.
That's great. So working with the Center for Student Success, who we brought in, and then also with Jobs and Family Services, who are very interested in partnering with us. We had the counselors in today too, to work on it. What is it that we want every grade level to do? Making sure there's something in multiple grade levels, things for them to do, expose them to, get more of the awareness and the, youth science, so kids take an interest and aptitude survey, job career survey. So it's not just what do you like, it's, well, here's your skills that match what you like too. So it's coming along, and said the high school, middle school are doing a great job getting some things together, so I think it's helpful. It's really cool.
Yeah, so I guess I have just 2 more questions. So just for my awareness, so these new courses that are being offered, the cybersecurity 2 and like the data analytics, are these existing curricula or are these something that the teachers are building?
So Cyber 2 is a little bit of both. So, because there is a consortium for cybersecurity courses in Ohio, and so she's part of that.
Okay.
And so she's able to pull the pieces and works with the rest of the teachers who are part of that consortium to be able to navigate that. Data science exists from the State Department.
Okay.
And so it's just pieces that you pull in and then, adjust it for what you need for it to be for your students.
All right, so my second question is, I guess, so I moved into the state of Ohio when I was in 9th grade, and my sisters went through middle school, and they did shop, and they did all these kind of, and so I feel like life skills is now going away, and that was where I think my children did cooking. So is there, where do those activities go? Because that's a certain type of person that we're going to graduate. They're going to go and they're going to be a building person, and so it looks like we have courses to support them in the high school, but I don't know where that work is at the middle school. And so this is, where would that be,
And are you talking about specifically Katie wood shop or like
or
for home
just like the
building,
things
or-
where you're building with your hands, right? Those are skills that were taught and have been taught, and where are they?
So much of that's actually going to probably be in our STEM program, our
Okay.
Engineering 101, our design thinking. In fact, Mr. Boniface's class is the old shop room. Like if
Yes.
you go in
I've
there,
spent a
like,
lot of time in there.
yes, yeah. So, I mean, that's where you'll see like the tools kind of hanging out and the kids being to build things. They've done things like, they had to create like a face and they had to use hydraulics to make like certain things move, and some would stick out their tongue, some of their eyes would bulge out, some would wiggle their ears, all kinds of just, stuff like that. So most of like the building, the analytical like process of design and measuring and getting things to work like that with their hands happens in our STEM and engineering programs.
Okay.
We do not do anything cooking related.
Okay.
But honestly, I think they probably learn 10 new recipes every time they scroll through their phone, because you can see all kinds of good food that way. But the hands-on type stuff are still taking place.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I will say Dawn's investigating some other ways to bring clear stuff in some programs, hopefully will be announced maybe later,
Exciting.
at a later date,
Future,
yeah, future.
a lot of planning.
Culinary arts is a big thing, and that's big STEM. People don't realize that, but it's a big STEM course. And I know if anybody's going into the military, it's also a great opportunity to move up through the ranks very quickly if you are in culinary arts. So, I mean, if you would have told me that 2 years ago, I wouldn't have known that. But because my son went military, now I know that. I just think I agree with Katie. So that was my final question. I know that a lot of our students are headed to the MDCTC, and I fully believe in career tech, but I know not all of them can, and not all of them even want to take that leap and go, even maybe they shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I asked this question a few years ago, and so I'm gonna throw it out there again. What is our vision opportunity to offer career tech courses here in the district?
Go ahead, Dawn.
We're off, so I'll say at the middle school level, we hired a career tech certified teacher this past year.
Correct.
That individual is teaching some of the career tech courses right now. Our career exploration course and our technology courses are being taught by that staff member at the middle school. One of the things with kind of the STEM conversation that we talked about that we're still working through is the opportunity for him and others to grow the career tech programming that we offer at the middle school. The state's offering a lot of middle school certifications now that I'm sure you guys are aware of that we're also exploring, perhaps through Project Lead the Way or other programs that they're making training available for a list of courses. So we've had a couple planning meetings, and that's part of the process and implementation at the middle school, is working through those pieces, but more than one staff member is our hope, offering different career tech opportunities. And then at our high school, we have several. We have several career tech opportunities that Katie
Yeah,
can
so
share
they
more.
have, so Mrs. Staub, if you haven't talked with her much about career tech courses and pathways, she knows more than I've ever heard anybody be able to know about that before. And Mr. Gore, who does the business, I would say the same with the two of them. So one of the things as part of the career pieces that we're working at on the high school side is those people are involved in that conversation, because I think that having as many of our students take our business courses, our IT courses, is kind of the direction for a lot of them, especially of what they're interested in. We do have a lot of students who are interested in the tech kind of classes, and they're specifically the ones that Pam's doing, the cyber, our IT fundamentals, and so they're kind of interested in more the coding side of things, a little bit kind of like the Python and others. But what we've talked about and with the career is if we can get them in 9th and 10th grade, then how do we help them develop those specific pathways through CTE courses to be able to get them into a credentialed path? Sinclair has a nice partnership specifically with Pam's classes. Jeff's working on those types of things as well. And so it's the navigation, and part of it is this career stuff that we're talking about, is how do we give them those opportunities, because I think these courses could lead them into the internships and the pre-apprenticeships that we've been talking about with the career piece. Sorry, I keep thinking about it because I'm looking at the sheet in my head of the different,
progression
sorry.
line.
We worked through it tonight.
My hand
I got you.
movements. But so we're working through then each grade level of what do we want for them to experience, because ultimately in 11th and 12th grade, we want for them to be doing as many shadowings, internships, pre-apprenticeships, whether it's in the summer, whether it's during the school year. So we're trying to come up with flexible ways too for us to work around their schedule, to be able to say, how do we have like a cohort on Wednesdays and the other days they're going out, to be able to actually do and see. And I feel like these CTE courses are the way for the students to be able to have that initial experience and have these teachers help them develop with our career people into the pre-apprenticeships and those internships, and then, move on. I saw it with my own kid. She did an internship on base this summer as part of a Wright Scholar. So for her to do that as a chemie perspective, it was a big deal for her to take that chem class. But if she had had something else to go along with it, how could that have helped her develop the specific internship that she was looking for? And so I think us being able to navigate that for the students is a big deal. It just takes quite a bit of us to be able to fit what that piece looks like. So the career progression that we're looking at, I think, is a really big deal. And then we don't want for the students either, though, to think that it's a CTE course and a career, that it's not also college too. So I don't want to lose that piece as we try and navigate, getting them where they do an internship. It's not always just work right after school, right? There are the other programs that you would potentially go into. So that's the conversation right now. I agree with you, but I think we're the prep and the plan, and the teachers have to help make that progression. Thank you.
Because Angie, you mentioned it, we have 45, 50 students who go to the CTC, but that's still the majority of students who are in high school. And so
Correct.
that's why when we're building our career plan, we're matching those interests, alignment, college, post-secondary, all of the options to our student population, both who are staying and then obviously who are going to the CTC. So trying to align those.
Have you looked at all, Dawn, into kind of just piggybacking off of Katie, and actually both for food and cooking, not necessarily down that path, but nutrition, because as we're talking about creating holistic students, nutrition especially, as you get into your 30s and 40s, you start to realize how much you should have focused on that earlier. Is there any interest in that, or have you looked into that at all?
It's a great question. So our aptitude and interest, so the youth science data, which is kind of becoming kind of our benchmark data. So in English, I have state testing and math data and those things. Kind of in our career exploration, we're using our youth science, which we're giving to our 7th graders and then our 10th graders. That's kind of our benchmark data and trying to figure out what they have aptitude for and what they have interest for. And one of our top ones has been healthcare. So we know that one of the needs, when we look at kind of our entire plan that we're working on, one of the things we need to develop are courses and opportunities centered around that aptitude and interest. So we have students who are showing in the last couple of years that we've had the data, that's a big, it's a field that they're interested in and have aptitude for. So Lydia, to answer your question, yes, we are still building, and we obviously have our core science classes, we have our core math classes, we have students who know they want to go into nursing or medicine, but all of the different opportunities in healthcare. So I'm getting a phone call from Tip City.
All of our phones just went off. Sorry.
As
Guess
I'm
what?
concentrating,
So,
dietetics,
should we listen to
sports
it? No, I'm just
medicine,
kidding.
Physical therapy, our students are interested in those things and how to provide internship, job
Yeah.
placement, job shadow opportunities with professionals in that field is definitely a key part of, we know those are the people we need to bring in and work with, so students have opportunity in those fields. So yes, I mean, currently, if you just look at our current course of study, we do have nutrition courses, but they're interested even more, like even with dietetics and some of those things. So we're aware, we're building, and that's when we have so many contacts in the area. Katie and Austin do too. CTC's been really helpful in meeting with us and helping in any way they can, and neighboring school districts as well to talk about those things. So
It's
yes,
also part of
we're-
our health class. At least at our building, we have 7th grade's mandated health, and then 8th grade's optional, and they cover nutrition in both of those.
Yeah. Those are important.
Awesome, great questions. Anything, got anything else?
Yeah, I just appreciate the connection back to measures, so I think that's something I'd like to understand more as a board member.
Great. Anything else?
I appreciate you guys trying to stay ahead of the curve. The world
Yeah.
changes very quickly.
Yeah.
And especially kids' interests and as fast as technology moves and all that. You can see a real effort for you guys to try and incorporate that and stay ahead of it and, offer things that are relevant and current. So, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you all. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Shouldn't you shut those speakers off?
I think Lydia said that because she saw my dinner tonight sitting over here.
It was very nutritious.
All right, so next on our agenda is our school board liaison. So currently, these are just relationships, liaison relationships with our key community organizations. So they support communication, collaboration, and alignment between the board and the community partners. You're not really sitting on a board for them. You're just headed to a meeting and you're listening and letting us know so that we can reach a broader part of the community, what's happening, and we can offer support as needed and necessary, especially with the weekly announcements that go out to everyone in the community. So these are some great opportunities to get involved. We have our TIP Education Endowment, and they meet at 4:30 p.m. on the second Wednesday of the month at the TIP City Board of Education office. We have the TIP Monroe Community Services that meets at 6:30 p.m. on the third Thursday of the month at the TIP City Senior Center. And the TIP City Parks Board meets at 6:30 p.m. on this, this one made me laugh, on the second Monday of each odd-numbered month at the TIP City Government Center. And so again, you're just a point of connection with them, letting them know that we hear them, give out additional information, sharing relevant updates. They might ask you questions about what's happening with the building or something like that, and just attending meetings when you can and when appropriate to have that collaboration. So it's not really like a vote on. It's if there's one that you really are driven to want to participate in, you know.
Well, the one immediately that's a conflict for us is the Parks Board.
Yeah,
'Cause that's in the middle of our board meetings.
it is. Yeah, so we might have to.
The second
Wait,
Monday
so
of
we're
each
the
odd
odd-
month.
we're
We're
the
now on the
fourth.
fourth Monday.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
fourth.
That's right. We talked about the second,
We
didn't we?
talked-
Yes, they
Wait,
did.
do I hear that Kyle
They
wants to
kibosh-
do that?
they put the kibosh on that.
I said no second week.
Yeah, no second week. That's right. We had to do
So
it.
if there's, I mean,
Cindy had mentioned that she would like to stay with the
community
the
services.
community service.
Okay.
Remain with
Yeah.
that if nobody, unless anybody else is interested.
Okay.
But she was actually doing parks as well, but
Yeah.
that's,
We,
anybody can.
we can share the love. Do you have any of them that you are feeling a strong draw? And you don't have to.
Yeah.
Like, if you're like, I don't have any more time,
Can't make
we
it
can,
work,
I can't
whatever.
make it work. We can figure this out. And we can even share and divide and conquer too, for all that matters.
I would have to abstain.
Okay.
From volunteering for me. I can't, my capacity is maxed
No,
at this
and
point
I
in my
appreciate
life.
your honesty, Kyle.
So,
Thank you.
Did you have any that you were particularly attached to?
I was on T, and it was a great experience. So it's a great group of people. I would be happy to go back, but I'd also be happy to share the love because it's a great group of people to be involved with. So
I'm open to either. I know that Mondays are tricky for you, correct?
Mondays are good for me.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I'm happy to go to the Parks Board because that would work well with my
It sounds like
schedule.
Katie's on the Parks Board.
Yeah.
Lydia, do you have one that you'd like to learn more about or be more involved? She's like, and again, if you're like, nope, I'm tapped, we can figure it out.
No, I'll do the T. if
T,
the-
okay? I think you'll really, yeah. Okay. I mean, if Cindy wants to stay with community
Yeah.
services, I'm cool with that too.
Yep. that'd be
Is
great.
everybody okay with that?
Great with it. Yep.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right, another thing that just kind of came up, we have updates to legislation, from the state, and then Neola, our policy, they put out at least twice a year updates. One is in the fall and one is in the winter, so the winter one literally just came out today. So I'm meeting with that, his name's Norm, he's the representative from Neola. I meet with him on February 10th at 10 a.m. We meet to go through there and make recommendations.
You said February 10th?
February 10th. And Cindy was part of it last year. She would like to continue, but we can have another board member if they're interested in being part of that and participate in those things as well. Again, it's sometimes, depending on what the legislation comes up with, is when we have to meet, but it's usually twice a year. But who knows, it could be more than that depending on what happens at the
Yeah.
legislative level. So if anybody's interested, I know you're the legislative representative,
Yeah. So I'm-
but
Yeah, so I'm interested in that. I think there's an AI policy requirement that's coming up that
Yeah.
will be required sometime in July.
so that's one of those.
Yeah.
So once, like, the state just came out with their model policy right before break, they take it and either create policy if it's brand new or tweak the ones that need to be tweaked based on the legislative, and then they present to us. Sometimes there's options, sometimes there's not, sometimes it's just
This is what you got.
wordsmithing
Yeah.
of, and
We went through that with the cell phone policy.
Yes.
yeah, just
It was like
different
the last
things.
one, yeah.
So, I think having a couple board members is always helpful to make sure we're landing in the right spot.
I am unfortunately not able to. It's
Yeah.
Monday, I'm in Columbus.
Same, Tuesdays are tough.
Do you have any interest or,
I do, but if Katie does,
well, it doesn't mean that you
Yeah, it
guys
doesn't
both
mean-
can.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can only have two board
Diller.
members.
Oh, Cindy
Yeah.
still wants
Yeah.
to do it? Oh,
Yeah, I can only have two,
okay.
because it's not a board, superintendent.
So I mean, if you want to go, that's great, because I'm traveling the next day, for 6 days, so,
And you can switch on
yeah,
and
I'm
off
happy
if you
to,
want to, like.
but I'd like to
Well,
hear
if you
about
want
that
to do
one.
the AI later in the year, is that possible to switch out, or does it need to be the same person?
Well, so this AI, this is one of, and everybody has access to, so if
Oh, yeah.
you're on, so in your board document, just go to right now you have featured meetings, agenda, and policies. So you go to policies and go to local policy updates. Everybody see that? You will see on the left-hand side by years, all these things. So you click on 2026, and there's your volume 44, number 2, January, Ohio local policy updates. You're not logged in, I think.
Yeah, I was logged in there. It
Somehow you
kicks
got.
you out all the
got
time.
You got kicked out, so you gotta log it back in.
Oh.
And here it goes through this gives you all the policies that are going to be in a brief description on there. Were you able to access it?
Yes.
Okay. So a brief description. So we meet on all of those and spend the time to go through each of those and make recommendations to the board. And then so that will happen in February. By the time it gets done, I don't know if we'll get it in time for February. First reading would be probably in March, and final reading in April.
Are you willing and able, Lydia?
I'm willing and able.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean we can't all look at them and
Yes.
give.
Everybody has
feedback
access to
and
this and
recommendations, but if you're
can
willing
chime
to be
in.
there that day, that'd be great. Thank you.
Are you able to see that?
I think so.
If you scroll all the way down,
Oh, yeah.
that gives you a brief, those should be PDFs. So if
Yeah,
you
they're
click
all-
on the AI at the very bottom, that's 7540 at the very bottom.
Ooh, the
it should-
NIL things in here.
Yeah. It should pop up the whole policy. And anything in, green is added, red, it says like I think this is a brand new policy.
I can click, but it does not go anywhere.
Yeah. So I don't see the icon where mine, I
It's
have the icon.
up here, so I just clicked
No,
it.
she's
Oh.
got it,
think-
but it's,
It says I'm still connecting, so
yeah, okay.
I think
okay.
we're,
I was
What
gonna say.
what browser are you using?
Chrome.
Okay. I was gonna say, in my experience, Chrome works far better with Word docs than other ones, but, yeah.
I think.
I guess it doesn't always work perfectly.
Yeah. So, Leah, I will add you to the invite.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
And we have found a mechanic for the open position, so he will be starting in February sometime, so he'll be on the board agenda in February for it, but we're going to do an executive letter to allow him to start because we don't have the
Right.
right now. So
Okay.
he's filling in, and he actually has a CDL as well, so
Awesome.
that will help out with transportation.
So will he also be a substitute bus driver?
That's just for driving as part
Yeah.
of the responsibility.
Okay.
Use as a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The magic phrase at the end of everything,
Right?
or in
Yeah.
the contract.
So,
Anything else, sir? Okay. Well, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the work session today.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Ernst. And a second?
My second?
Thank you, Ms. Lyman. And can you call the vote?
Yes. Ernst,
Yes.
Lyman,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
This work session is adjourned at 5:58.
2022.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 27th, 2026, and it is 6:30 p.m. I'm going to call our regular board meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Stevens, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Mrs. McMurray.
Here.
Mrs. Dillard is absent this evening. Mrs. Ernst.
Here.
Mrs. Kleiman.
Here.
Mr. Thompson. Here. We do have a quorum and can continue the meeting this evening.
Thank you. Next, I would love a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Could I first request to move agenda item 6F, 6H to new business?
6F and 6H to new business.
Yes, please.
Okay. And then I also have an item that needs to be added to the agenda.
Okay.
I have an item for approval of the rates of tax for 2025. This is an approval of the rates of tax as determined by the Miami County Budget Commission to be levied for school purposes on the general duplicates of 2025, subject to any additional levies approved by the vote. This is something that normally happens in the month of March, but the county auditors, due to changes with tax rates and such, have added this. So it needs to be approved by January 31st.
Okay, and where would we?
I will be placing that in Treasurer's Report, item D.
Do we need a motion on that?
We will,
Yeah, we
when
will.
when all of the changes are done, we'll do a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So because the C is gone.
Yes.
I'm sorry, can we also move 6I?
Okay. Are there any other changes for anyone in the agenda? If we could, we can vote on those, and then I will make those adjustments, and then we can refresh the screen.
Awesome, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight as amended? Oh,
I'm sorry, it's one more. 6K. I have that down for business. Now that's it. I apologize.
I'll make a motion.
okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. I'll second. Any additional discussion on the amended agenda?
So 6K. Employment correction. 6I, is that the Monroe donation?
To the Monroe Optimist Club donation?
Mine is different from what you're saying. This mine is for the, maybe more than that. Disposal of surplus property substitutes and
Substitutes is F. Disposal of surplus property is already in new business,
That's weird.
7A.
Yeah, so, let me refresh just to make sure.
Yeah, that was 7A, and I printed this earlier today.
Let's do this. Do you remember the names of the
Yeah.
items that you wanted moved?
Supplemental positions
That's,
and substitutes.
Supplemental positions,
And substitutes.
okay. I remember what the other one was.
Custodial position reinstatement.
That's in the
Sorry.
correction.
yeah, that's him. So you do not want the to continue educational endowment grant acceptance? Okay. Or the Optimus?
No.
Okay.
Custodial position.
It's employment corrections.
That's K. Employment corrections, K. No, she does not want that one.
Just
I'll give titles in the future.
No,
It's just
you're fine.
supplemental substitutes
You're
and
good.
custodial.
Supplemental
The
substitute.
custodial,
That's M.
And
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So just those three items,
yes, please.
and then the Stevens tax rate. Okay. So, supplemental positions. Substitutes. Custodial position. And then Mr. Stevens is gonna move something here. We have to make sure we take off the consent agenda status, or that will not approve,
Yeah.
approve appropriately. Okay, everything appears to have been appropriately moved. Supplemental positions, substitutes, and custodial position reinstatement have been moved from consent agenda to new business. And the treasurer's report now has an additional item for approval of tax rates for 2025. Thank you, everyone. And that was Kyle Thompson and Katie Burns. Okay.
Lydia, does that look okay?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. And you are ready to call it?
Yes, ma'am. Thompson?
Yes.
Ernst?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Lyman?
Yes.
Motion passes. The next section is student recognition, which unfortunately, due to the weather, we're going to, yeah, sorry, that was rude. So we're gonna move on to the superintendent's comments and regarding our building project update.
So not a whole lot happening this week with construction. But the plans, I know plumbing just got approved, so when that is happening for the PK8, they'll start, they have the plans for the kitchen. They'll start, draw the plans and work for that. The foundations for part D and E, which is the south end of the building, I think are almost completed, if not completed. The foundation pours were done last Friday, and that work's being done. Continue to get bids from the high school. We had a meeting on last Monday, the 19th, and had quite a bit of interest from contractors in the pre-bid meeting. So again, hopefully good news continued with cost and bid interest on that. We should know that here, I think, at the end of the month. Should have numbers coming here by the next board meeting and probably for approval. If not, we may have to have a special meeting in early March, possibly, just so they can get work started, because work at the high school will start in this summer. So at the end of May, beginning of June, work starts. They have it phased out, so phase one will be kind of the east side, the academic wings, flooring, and the BAV boxes, things like that, heating and cooling will be, new stuff will be put in there. The corridor flooring will get changed the following summer, and then it'll move to the east side, or excuse me, the west side in next summer. But the roofing will take place the first summer, so the gymnasium and the CPA, so we don't have leaks anymore, would be nice for performances. And then we will also be able to, they'll be starting on work on the south end, I believe. All the masonry joints, everything like that will be worked on, and they'll hopefully be able to finish in the fall. If they make it around past the academic week, then they can still work while school's in session because it's gym.
Right.
It won't be in anybody's way. So that's gonna come fast here. We have waiting on the traffic study for the high school to be completed, so we can decide how we want to design, if we were designing the high school, so we have easier access for buses, students and families. I think would be safer, that would be great. So that's all happening on February 9th, and it is at 9:30 a.m. is our ribbon cutting for the operations center.
Did you say 9:30 a.m.?
9:30 a.m., correct. We'll continue to have our progress meetings and AOC meetings weekly, so those are occurring tomorrow, even though weather's not cooperating with us right now. What questions might anybody have with the construction projects?
The flooring in the hallways and whatnot, is that just too invasive for them to do at any point during the year, even like over breaks and things like that?
So when they're kind of phasing work and flooring at the same time. So that's why they're doing the classrooms, because that's where they're doing some ceiling work with the BAB boxes. So they're taking everything out, redo the floors and the boxes, and they'll kind of do that way. Because they have to take everything out.
Yeah.
And then put it back in. So it's just too much to try to do. The furniture is going to be in the hallways
Yeah.
while that's happening.
Okay.
And then when it's the following summer, the only thing that really needs to be redone is the office space for that new security vestibule that'll be going in there. So everything on the west side really doesn't have that many classrooms to it. There's only like 2 classrooms, but the rework will be there. But that's plenty of time for them to get, to use the flooring space. They don't have to there's not a whole lot of stuff that needs to be put in there.
Okay. Gotcha. So is it that phase 2, is it primarily just the flooring then, for the hallways?
There's other stuff, the parking lot, the second parking lot,
Yep.
the south parking lot will be re-milled, at least milled and milled or built, so to speak, or not built. The north side is basically they're just milling 2 inches off and putting new asphalt everywhere. We got some new lights and stuff that need to go up as well. We're looking at doing I think it's
bloodhound person we're looking at doing electricals. We got some lights out that we don't know why they're going out. We got some issues that we need to find out why, so that we can bring everything up to working speed.
Got it. Thank you.
The traffic, the south side parking lot, is that just looking at the existing footprint, or will there be any expansion of that footprint?
Existing footprint right now. So the idea would be if we could put buses in visitor parking, kind of in that horseshoe where we have right now, that would separate busing and students. We'd have students, a separate gate for students to come in, and then up north, we can then have a parent drop off, that whole north side can be parent drop off. And if we do that, you know, right now during the day, we do not have that second, we have two kind of double rows of parking up there because we have to have buses. Well, if buses are over here, then that opens up another 100 and some parking spots.
Yeah.
So we actually will increase our parking availability for students.
That'd be good.
You know, staff could stay in that one, students could fill in up there. So we think we're better off that way as well. But separate, just like we're trying to do at the middle school and LT Ball, having separate entrances for everybody makes it go a lot smoother.
So the parent entrance would be by the water tower?
Yes, success circle.
Come in there?
Yeah.
And then, okay, this is just me playing devil's advocate, because I've had to drive my husband's truck lately. How are they gonna fit in that turnaround? Like by the front door?
Yeah. Buses can come in there right now, the way it is.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
We'd have to
Right.
reconfigure, we'd reconfigure some things, and that's something that we're working with transportation to,
Okay.
get all the buses in there, they can come right out, and then it's easier, because right now they're coming, you know, to get out together on time, they come through the student parking
Yeah.
lot, they would just, the police, their SRO could be right there, and let everybody get the buses out, stop traffic, and then the rest could go on. We're looking at doing some ways, again, with the city to make it, so maybe entrance and exit for the students only one way at certain times, and morning it's only an entrance, and maybe it's an exit. But you still have the entrance off of Success Circle that could flow in to any of the spots. So, lots to be determined once we get that, traffic study and work with Choice One Engineering and Garmin Miller and Shook to figure out what our possible steps are.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? None.
Is there a centralized location where all of these plans and kind of updates and things can kind of be a progress report to the public as a continual thing? Because I get a lot of questions from people just on out and about, and I don't want to just keep telling them to send you emails. So just something a little bit more proactive as far as steps and stages and whatnot.
All the plans, I would say, we have plans, like we put out plans for the new parking. That came at the middle school and LT Ball. We post those things out as we know, as things come up. As things at the high school come solid, we definitely could, you know, put those things out to what we're looking at. We have ideas, but we're waiting on that traffic study to do things. Same like with the LT Ball, like before break when we switched over from LT Ball parent drop off here on this corral to on the other side, we had maps, we worked with Shook Construction to print out those maps, so we post those out. We sent them, I think, in the weekly newsletters and to parents directly. The parents on how to do that, so we could do that as we get more ideas on the parking, what it's gonna be, for sure.
Is there some place on our website where like the renderings for the new building are living, or?
So the renderings are still there, that are on the PK building, there's renderings for that.
Oh,
For the
there it is.
PK,
Oh, okay.
for the high school, there's not, we didn't have mock-ups for the renderings for that. But we could do some traffic stuff, I'm sure, too, once we have a go, and that again, it's with collaboration with the city as well, engineers, to make sure that meets their specifications, we can add that to here as well.
So like a one-stop shop for all the changes that are happening to the facilities. I definitely think because of how came in the wrong way tonight and turned around and went back. And I just think for community, for attending things, if we could put those maps even on, I know a lot of people get the weekly newsletter, but just to have it in some, somewhere, facility, I don't know, somewhere on there that they can see those maps if they're coming to a football game or choir concert or whatever it might be. Football game. Football game.
Track and the string.
Track and, yeah.
There is no track this spring or next spring, as in events, because we have the space.
Home events.
Home events,
yeah.
There'll be practice.
Practice and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, and that's worked out where, again, that north lot will serve as a parking spot for kids, and then this whole west lot here on the south end, parking spots for kids too.
Okay.
So we actually had some practices when the weather was actually nice, before the polar vortex came down.
Yeah, I just think like another,
Yeah.
something in there that would be really helpful.
You can look at that.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. Anything, other questions? Okay. Next is citizen comments. Is anyone here?
Gonna be blank. Oh, wait, this is Pat. Just kidding.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move right along. Next is our informational reports, and I know that Mrs. Stiller can't be here tonight. The minutes are located in the attachments. Did you have anything from her that you wanted to add, Mr. Moran, or anything?
No.
Okay. And I don't think we have any other reports, because we just decided in our liaison meeting. So, we are moving right along. Next, our treasurer's report. Mr. Stevens, are there some things, specific things for our monthly financial report, based off of the attachments and previous information that you want to highlight?
Gotcha. So the December monthly financial report is attached. One thing to point out, we do have our list of interest that's been received. We have spoken on it before, but I just want to bring up again, the arbitrage, the construction interest, the interest we're earning on our construction money. There's arbitrage that we're going to have to monitor and pay. Arbitrage is the money that you earn above and beyond the interest rate that you got for your tax-free loans. So we can't make more than what we issued our bonds at. And so anything that you do make in a higher than what we issued the loans at, we have to pay back to the federal government because they're tax-free loans. And so we're going to do a initial calculation. We're going to talk with our bond counsel through Bricker and Bricker Graydon, and we're going to pay for an initial review to determine how much interest we will be potentially earning, so that we know how much we will have to pay back. That way, we don't find ourselves using our interest money on the project and then determine that, oh, we spent more than what we should have because we had to get some money back. So I've reached out to Matt Stout, the Bricker and Graydon, and they're going to provide us with a contract to do the initial arbitrage calculation as well as the final calculation. And the final calculation is not due until 5 years after the project started. So we still have time for that, but this is something that is recommended by Red Tree Investments Agency and our bond counsel. So I just want you to be aware of that. Any additional costs will be calculated and included as needed. Now on to the financial report itself. On the revenue side, we did see this month where the state took back some money that they had reimbursed us back in July for the science of reading. Turns out they did not appropriate enough across the state for all of the schools that submitted reimbursement, and so instead of providing 100% reimbursement, they could only provide 92.5% reimbursement. So we did see a clawback of that. I can't remember, I want to say maybe 10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it took money back, and that's never a good thing. But page 6 in the financial report, the budget versus actual, shows that our transactions for our expenses, they are tracking closely with the projections. Any questions I might be able to answer for the board?
Is there any, just with the arbitrage stuff, is there any, initial payments? Like, it doesn't work like estimated taxes or anything like that, does it? It's just like here's kind of what we think is gonna happen.
That's why we do the initial calculation, so we know what to try to hold back.
Okay, and then the final calculation will be done at the end of the project, and then just do 5 years after that.
Well, it's within this, I think it's due within 5 years of the start of the project. So when we
Okay.
sold our bonds, I think we have 5 years to finish it and be done.
So August of 2030 or something like that.
When
Did we sell them last August?
We got the money in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2029.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
And we were getting, 5+% interest rates to begin with, to start Ohio, now it's gone down some, so.
Yeah. The interest rates have decreased.
Hopefully don't have to send it back to everybody.
Okay. Gotcha.
That's why we have Registry looking out for our investments and moving them where they need to go.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah. Any additional questions for Mr. Stevens? Okay, thank you. Next, under Treasurer's Report, I would like a motion to approve the fiscal year 2026 appropriation amendments. Do I have first?
All motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Do I have a second? Discussion. Dave, do you want to start?
Just that we had some additional funds come in. We've got some local grant funds that were awarded. We did increase a lot of appropriations in our building funds, the 004 and the 010 fund. The GMP 1.3 that was approved took up a large chunk of the budget, and we had not appropriated everything necessary, but now this should cover all the GMP 1.3, and all of the funds that are appropriated here we have the funding on hand, or the state has allocated it to us, so it's not like we don't have any of these funds, we're just appropriating the available funds. And we did receive a school safety grant, and we got some track uniform donations, so we just have to make sure that we're legally appropriating the funds so that we can spend them.
Any other discussion or questions for Mr. Stevens? Hearing none. Mr. Stevens, could you call the vote, please?
Thompson?
Yes.
Ernst?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Lyman?
Yes.
And that motion passes. Next is the annual maintenance fund transfer. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the following transfer. It would be $302,893.40 from Permanent Improvement Fund 003-0000 to our OFCC Maintenance Fund for our CFAP project. OFCC required annual maintenance fund transfer per board resolution 2024.11.07. And the final transfer will be in fiscal year 2047.
And I don't know if you said it, but Fund 34.
Oh, I
Dash
apologize,
9001.
I missed that. It will be going to Fund 34-9001.
Need a motion to approve?
Yes, please.
All motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you, Ms. Wyman. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, can you call the vote, please?
Thompson?
Yes.
Lyman?
Yes.
Ernst?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes. Motion passes. Next I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the rates of tax for 2025. It is determined by the Miami County Budget Commission to be levied for school purposes on the general duplicates of 2025, subject to any additional levies approved by vote. I'm looking for a motion, please.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I'll go ahead and second. Any discussion or questions, Mr. Stevens?
As we discussed this in a previous meeting, the county budget commission revised our millage on the emergency levies so that they're still only collecting a certain dollar amount. This is something that they do every year. The county budget commission did remove or lower the bond millage on our project, lower than what I would have liked to have seen there, because they lowered it from mid-7 down to 4.0. But I just know that they're not gonna be able to maintain that, and it's gonna have to go back up in the future. It's not something that we wanted to see, as a board when we discussed this previously, but it's at their discretion, so.
Mr. Stevens, could you remind me why it says 2025 instead of 2026?
Because we have tax years collect a year in arrears,
Okay.
so we're collecting 2025 taxes in calendar year 2026.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Thompson?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Ernst?
Yes.
Wyman?
Yes.
And that motion passes. Next on the agenda are our consent agenda items, which include prior meeting minutes for December 16th, prior meeting minutes for the work session for December 16th, prior meeting minutes for the regular meeting for December 16th, prior meeting minutes for January 7th, organizational meeting, Tip City Foundation grant acceptance, Tippecanoe Educational Endowment grant acceptance, Tip Monroe Optimist Club donation, anonymous donation, employee corrections, and retirements. And can I have a motion to approve all of the consent agenda items?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Ernst. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Lyman. You don't need to discuss. Can you call the vote, please?
Ernst?
Yes.
Wyman?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
And consent agenda items passes.
Thanks for the donation.
Thank you for the
Thank you so
donations.
much.
Yes. Next is our new business items. First on the agenda, I'm looking for a motion for the approval to repurpose and/or recycle outdated and obsolete instructional material for board policy 7310.
First, can I ask a couple questions?
I have to have a motion
Gotcha.
first. Yep.
Motion.
First motion, Mrs. Lyman, thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Okay, now discussion.
I know that there's a method of disposing of them. How has that been determined, where these books will be going, or?
So in this particular case, they tried to find a home with about 6 different agencies and were not able to find one. However, they did find a home with somebody said we had taken what they did some research and found another place in the area that would take them.
Okay, so they're being rehauled.
Yes, these books are being donated to another entity who will use them. But if we don't find anybody, then we looked at recycling them.
Okay, have we found another entry?
Yes.
Okay, can I know who that entry is?
It is, I believe it's called Flock for Love and Children out of, in the Dayton area. They will use it for their, book nook varieties.
Is that FLOCK or FLOK?
FOOC, for Love of Children. recommended, that was recommended from one of the area places we looked to donate. They said, no, we don't need it, but this place could take them. And if there's value, and then we would look to put it on gov.deals to sell it if it's worth
Right.
it, but these would not be that piece.
Okay.
And then again, some things are just trash.
Is there a prioritization to look, say, in like the local area, local, like tip, and then start doing rings outward instead of just seeking anybody to take them?
Well, that was done inside, so the first place was, Anna's Closet, About Books, Browse Around Books, Kids Reading Out, Tip City Library, Troy City Library, they were asked
Okay.
about donations, particularly in this case. But we would try to donate to people in this area first, and if there's some others that maybe we're not aware of, and would like to be for future, we'd be happy to look those up, or get that information to reach out, because the librarians, to be the 7 people, I'm sure would like to get the books in kids' hands, if possible, to be looked at.
And then what are the qualifications to become infrequent circulation? Do you know how long it can't be checked out until that happens?
It's probably years, I could find that information out,
Okay.
but it's not like the last year that these haven't been touched in a long, long time. They look at these about every year. They
Okay.
look at these on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, if you don't mind finding that out for me, I appreciate it, thank you.
Non-circulation timeframe, is that accurate?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect, thank you.
And then they're obviously purchasing new materials too, so it's, but they bring in a lot of new books too each year.
These were probably the books that I used in high school to do reports, because we didn't have the internet.
I think some of the science ones were just outdated.
Yeah,
Some of the
I
stuff
know.
was,
Just-
it might change.
Okay. And then could you also just find out what outdated means, just kind of how that gets defined, or?
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
No.
Okay. Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Lyman,
Yes?
Thompson,
Yes.
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes. Motion passes. Next, under new business, I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the following overnight and/or out-of-state trips. And you can see the public comment below for Mr. Bellis and his academic quiz team for competition at Solon High School in Cleveland in February, and for Mr. Bellis's academic quiz team for the National History Bowl and B in Washington DC in April. Do I have a motion?
A motion?
Thank you, Mrs. Minor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Discussion or questions?
Do we know how many students are going?
I don't know.
The team usually has 5 or 6 on the varsity team, they sub in, I think it's 4 at a time, they sub in every once in a while, so probably be 6 or 7, I'd say, students at a time. But they do have a JV, at times they do have JV teams too.
Good luck to them. Hearing no additional discussion or questions, Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Lyman,
Yes?
Thompson,
Yes.
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes, and the motion passes. Next is, I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the 2026-2027 Program of Studies for Tippecanoe Middle School and Tippecanoe High School as presented below. And then public comment, those are the final versions, no red line, that are attached. I'm looking for a motion, please.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Ernst. Open for discussion and questions.
I think there's some exciting addition. We mentioned this in the work session, but Mr. Halsey, Mrs. Weaver, and Mrs. Scott do a great job at trying to keep us current, up to date, bringing in relevant programs that kids are asking for that are going to prepare them well for the future, especially career-oriented stuff, which is great. So just to say that again in this meeting, appreciate their hard work.
And I'm excited about the world language sampler. I think that'll give an opportunity for languages that we won't be able to offer, but it'll introduce kids to different cultures. So I do appreciate that they're trying to incorporate skills that aren't necessarily a standalone class into other classes that we all see as being vital to their development.
Absolutely. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Stevens, could you call the vote, please?
Thompson,
Yes.
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes.
Wyman.
Yes.
And that motion passes. Next on the agenda, I'm looking for a motion for the approval to employ the following supplemental positions for the 2025-2026 school year, pending proper certification and paperwork. And you can see in the public comment, these are the spring supplemental positions for athletics. So can I, is there, let me go back, I apologize. See if I did. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Ernst. I'll go ahead and second. Open for discussion and questions.
I guess, are there any paperwork, things like that, for any of the positions we're voting on tonight that have not been turned in, or they still need to get certifications?
So there's a few different things. So one, coaches have to go do the coach's tool chest required for like concussion protocols, all these medical stuff. They have to get the pupil activity permit as well, two separate things, background checks. All those things have to go through before we allow them to participate with kids. So when the season starts, they don't have those things done, they cannot coach, they can't do anything, and then we would get rid of them.
And then it just automatically terminates if they don't complete those compliance.
Because they're not, it said they haven't completed the certification, so then they can't do the job. Because you have to like have the concussion protocols and all these different things, you have to have those in place before you're allowed to be a coach for the program.
Is there a reason we'd be voting on them before we know they have those, or?
Some of them, why would they do it unless they're being hired to do it?
Okay.
And there is a cost to that. Well, licensure is a cost, there's cost to those things, so if they weren't coaching, they probably wouldn't be doing those things.
And that's the same for the volunteers as well.
Yeah, they have to go through, again, pupil activity permit, all those things in order to be part of the program.
And I see there's a baseball coach, that there's still a position open. Is that something we're actively seeking?
Junior high
Yes,
baseball coach.
yeah. So I met with the softball coach today, so I meet with all the head coaches of the program, and we haven't, they didn't have one last year either, I don't believe.
Okay.
So, but we try to get them.
So we're looking for a head baseball coach for the junior high.
That's what I heard.
Actually, is that a full-time or a part-time? Not for me. Yeah.
Oh,
Not for me.
Or
I might
well,
ask them. After
just-
school part, after school part,
Yeah.
okay. I have a great candidate for that, actually.
And last year, it wasn't because of the coach, they didn't have the numbers last year, if I'm not mistaken, for the program.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Ernst,
Yes.
McMurray,
Yes,
Lyman,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
and the motion passes. Next, I need a motion for approval to employ the following for the 2025-2026 year pending proper certification and paperwork, and you can see in public comment, these are our substitutes, bus drivers, mechanic, teacher's aide, and substitute teachers. Is there a motion?
All motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Lyman. And it's open for discussion and questions.
Do any of these fall under the new guidelines that we were setting, where we don't require a bachelor's degree, but they have certain
No,
certifications, or?
We have, I run one, I'm getting ready to start a second group, so I have about 6 or 7 more that I will probably do in the middle of February. I just need to carve out a couple of days to get that training done, but those will be coming at a later date.
So none of these fall under,
The
I
pilot.
don't believe any of those, we haven't trained anybody since that one, since the one in the fall, so nobody, I don't know who the names are exactly in regards to who needs to do the training. So they, if they're to fall into that, they would have to go through this training before we would sign off on them.
gotcha.
I know one, yeah, the one gentleman that said that he's interested in doing that, his name's not on there, but I know it's only because he told me today.
So all of these fall under what?
Regular-
Prior protocol?
Regular board policy, not the pilot program.
Okay.
To my knowledge, that's all of them. And again, if they were under the pilot program, they could not go into the classroom until they got, and Chelsea has those, she's the call person, she has those person's names. And we don't even sign off on their, we wouldn't sign off on their certificate either until they been through the program.
Gotcha.
So they couldn't get a permit unless they'd gone through it. So
Okay. Good.
what are the questions that people have?
I guess I just, kind of where are we as far as that board policy that we emailed about, the 0149, as far as reviewing information about candidates?
So to me, these are applicants, these are HR functions, and HR functions of the team. That's not, board members are not part of the HR team. They are not part of, these people are not actually even employees of the district until they would be hired at here. So to me, that would be, that's administrative responsibilities, not board responsibilities. If there is a concern with something that maybe we're not aware of, by all means, we could have that conversation about anybody, or, that could be no different than the coaches, right? They're in the same type of situation.
I guess it just feels a little bit like a chicken and egg situation, because until they're hired, they're not a part of the district, but then we've approved them before we get to actually review their resumes. And would that be the same then in your mind for full-time teachers that we would be hiring?
Yeah, those are HR positions. Those are HR functions about making sure all the steps are in place and that they've interviewed the candidates. Those are all part of administrative responsibilities, not necessarily the board. The board's responsibility in regards to hiring is hiring a superintendent and a treasurer and setting policy.
I
That's the way-
don't agree with that, because if we are supposed to have an overview of candidates, then I don't see why we would even need to give us a rubber stamp on the candidate if we haven't had the opportunity to review them. So it kind of seems like an arbitrary step, but I'll leave it there.
And I know that it doesn't definitely take a learning curve. And you'll get some things that you're training when you go to, and this is one of them. And I remember this coming up as a topic of conversation when I went to our training, but it basically is about what the board can and cannot do. And it's a really, You can see I've got stuff like dog-eared and everything. And basically in this situation, it's my understanding from training and from our policies is that we support the recommendations from the administrative team and our HR director, which is Mr. Moran, and that's what we look at. If there's, I agree, if there's something on here ahead of time, once they release that information, definitely have a conversation, but that's outside of the scope of what Ohio says for the Ohio School Board Association.
And if that's something, I mean, if that's a bigger discussion that we can discuss, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I see the board governance model expected to be, not in the day-to-day operations of those HR functions.
That's my understanding as well for the training.
But again, there might be some nuances to it that might make sense too.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Thompson?
Yes.
Lyman?
No.
McMurray, yeah, I'm sorry, Ernst?
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes. Motion passes. I need a motion for the approval to hire an individual as a custodial worker for up to 3 hours per week. Time will be supported by a timesheet.
Motion? I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Clinton. Thank you, Mrs. Ernst.
So this,
And-
so this was a question that was brought up, by board member, Ms. Lyman, I think it's probably, this was something we had in the past, as I had indicated to the board members, but it probably is, probably right, it's sort of a new, because it's kind of been dead, that maybe we should just, that we approve doing this, and then finding somebody for it after approval versus maybe it's a little bit chicken and egg type of thing. That we just be clear what it is. Again, this was a person, and again, the facilities over at the old bus garage were dismal, to say the least. We want to make sure the office area, the break area, those things are not, and it's not the garage that it was. So the time, 3 hours a week to make sure the bathrooms are clean, trash is taken out, those types of things. To have it specified for one person that we think makes sense, but probably something that makes sense to get approval for it first before going further.
So we're approving the position, and then that frees you up to,
Then we
The posting on it.
Yeah, find somebody to do it.
Optimally, would you like it to be someone that already works for the district? Okay.
You know, if it was somebody that worked in transportation or operations, that part-time, or an aide that's working part-time already, that would be probably the easiest. Somebody to show up 3 hours a week, probably, not worth their gas, maybe, come here 3 times a week, but who knows? But yeah, I think we can find somebody internal that can do it while they're here, so to speak.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Lyman?
Yes.
Ernst?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Thompson?
yes.
Motion passes. Next, under miscellaneous, just letting the public know that our next work session and regular board meeting will be held on February 23rd, 2026. The work session will begin at 5, and the regular meeting will begin at 6:30. They will be held here at LT Ball. And Mr. Moran, what driveway and doors should they use?
Both of those are unlocked.
Okay,
Both of these doors are unlocked.
both the north, the
north,
far north,
yes.
and the south?
And the south are unlocked.
Okay.
The easiest is the
the south entrance.
exit, Yes.
Okay,
That's the easiest to come off of what used to be Never-Copic Access Road, take it back to the Operations Center and up to the LT Mall. Plenty of parking either way, it's just, it's probably the easiest.
Okay, thank you.
Some people don't see the, access road on the north by the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
You don't, you're not looking for it,
Yeah.
especially with the snow, you don't realize, you gotta make a turn there.
And just a friendly reminder, this is a Monday meeting. We've moved to our Monday meetings and not a Tuesday. So just letting the public know that February 23rd is a Monday. Next is Board Member Appreciation Month.
So you have, you know, a little gift in front of you, a certificate from, the Ohio School Boards Association. For some of you, it's your third time, for some of you, it's your first time. But it is a responsibility that not everybody wants to take on. It is important. We have 2,400 kids that rely on people working on their behalf. So we appreciate you taking on that responsibility and being here and working in the best interest of kids. So thank you, even though it might be a month, but this is your month. So again, there's plenty of cupcakes over there. If you have some cupcakes before you leave here.
I don't think we hang out.
I ate one.
Oh, you did? Okay.
About 3 or 4.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to serve.
All right, now with that, I would love a motion to adjourn tonight's regular meeting.
I'll motion.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mrs. Flyman. Mr. Stevens, can you call the vote, please?
Thompson.
Yes.
Lyman.
Yes.
Ernst.
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes. And this regular meeting of the Tip City Board of Education